Okay, cool. So today we're going to go over two-dimensional arrays and do some multiple choice, and then we're going to talk a little bit about objects and classes and kind of how to create multiple constructors and how to initialize and declare multiple objects within a class. So cool. So to start off, we're going to do some multiple choice with two-dimensional arrays. We'll start out with some easy multiple choice. Okay. All right, let's try this first one. How many columns does A have if it's created as follows? Int bracket 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 A equals, and then these two sets of numbers.
Okay, so it would have 2 columns.
Okay. Incorrect. Okay, that's the size of outer list is the number of rows. So what would it actually look like if you were to draw it out?
So I thought it'd be like
Let's pull up the
oh, okay, I know what I did wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so like when I first looked at it, I was like, okay, well there are 2 in like this array, there are 2 arrays inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it more so 2 arrays inside of the big array.
I think I get what you're saying. So if I were to just like, I'm going to use this as like scratch material right now.
Okay.
But this is the declaration, right?
Yeah.
So what's it going to look like? So say that this is like index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here I have 0. Oh, wait. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my 2D array.
Yeah.
So what goes in this spot right here?
Okay, so it's actually, so in that it would be the entire like row, and then there are 8 columns.
8 columns. So what number goes right here where my cursor is?
So it would be like all of them. So it'd be 2,
Mhm.
4, 6, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.
So 2, 4, 6, 8. And then where would the 1 go?
Wouldn't it go on the same line?
So it actually would not go on the same line because as you see here, there are 2 sets of numbers, right? So these brackets are kind of like saying that they're two separate rows.
Okay.
In our 2D array. So if it doesn't go after the 8, right? Because if I put a number here, then this would be here.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So that's how that works. But the 1 would actually go here.
Oh, so it'd just be at the next row?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm actually going to get rid of this 4th index because we don't need it. And these guys because we don't need it. So now the question was asking us, how many columns does A have? So columns are they the ones that go up and down or left and right?
Left and right.
Oh, no. Columns go up
and
down.
Wait, columns. Okay, I'm sorry. Rows and columns.
No, it can definitely be confusing. So we have rows. Our rows are...
Because rows are first and then it's columns.
Yeah, and our calls here are 0, 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
So how many columns do we have?
So we would just have 4.
Yeah, exactly. So we just have 4. Let's see if that's the right answer. And it is, right. So the size of the inner list is the number of columns. And what does it mean by inner list and outer list?
Well, I guess because it's an array of 2, like that has 2 arrays inside. Mm-hmm. So by inner list, it's talking about the 2 inner arrays.
Yep.
And like they're both array lists, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So the inner list has a size of 4, as we just said. So what size is the outer list have?
Well, wouldn't it? Okay, wait, can you ask the question again?
Sure. So we just said that the inner list has a size of 4,
Uh-huh.
right? So what size does the outer list have?
Okay, so I feel like it should also be 4 because of the way it would structure out. Like in like the visual, it was like 2, yeah, so it was like 2, 4, 6, 8, and then below it would be the next one. So it would still have
Mhm.
4 columns.
So what if I said something like this? If I said int a1 equals this list, and I said int a2 equals this list. Instead of writing it this way, could I write a1, a2?
Yeah.
Okay. So A is our outer list in this example, right?
Uh-huh.
So what is the size of A? How many elements are there in A?
4. Oh wait, in A there'd be 8.
There would be 8 elements if you looked at the inner list, but just in A. There are only 2 things here, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little tricky to get. But yeah, so there are 2 things in A, and which is our outer list, and there are 4 things in A1 and 4 things in A2, both of which are inner lists.
Okay, so then it's like really important to make sure that you pay attention to what parts of the array it's talking about, and then not to like, because I feel like that's an issue, like that's an error that I would easily make.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Well, I know that A1 actually has 4 values, so then I would have to include those 4 values, but really it's just talking about A1 and A2.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because it's asking just about the columns,
Yeah.
right? So you would have to kind of either create the visual like we just did, or realize that when it asks about columns, it's asking about the inner list size.
Okay.
Either way will get you to your answer. Okay, cool. Any questions on that one?
No, that one makes sense.
Okay, cool. Let's move right along. So which of the following statements assigns the letter S to the third row and first column of a two-dimensional array named stir grid, assuming row major order?
So that would be B.
Okay.
Because you said first row and third column?
No, the other way around. Third row, first column.
Oh, then C.
Yeah, then C. Exactly. Oh, sorry. This would be true if row and column indices started at 1 instead of 0. Oh, tricky. I fell for it too.
Oh. Okay, so then it would be D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yep.
That's fine. So assuming third row and first column. Okay, so it's not. I feel like I would have made that error. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if we actually go back to our visualization, third row, first column, how would we get there? So it would have to be here, right? And say this is all zeros. So what value is at the third row, first column?
Third row, first column. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. We said, okay, hold on. Third row and first column. So that's 1.
So third row. So
oh wait, yeah, it's 1.
So what was the index that we said? It would be at which indices would we need to access the third row, first column?
It would be it would be the second. It'd be 2, and then it'd be 0.
Right, and that is equal to
1.
1 exactly. Oh wait, is it 1?
Oh wait, it would be 0.
Yeah, it would be 0.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that bottom left corner, basically. So if I said I wanted, actually, let's do this. So if I give these blank again, and I said I wanted second row, third column, what indices do I need?
Let's see. This would be the second row. So then it would be okay, hold on, because it'd be 0 and 1. So it'd be 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the third, it'd be 2.
Okay.
Well, for the second one, it'd be 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then what value do I get there?
Let's see. So 0, 1, and then 0, 1. So it'd be 4.
Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah. Well, no.
No?
Nope.
Hold on. Okay. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
0, 1, and then 0, 1, 2. Okay.
So how are you tracing it? Walk me through it.
Okay, so the second row. Wait, question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm counting the space above, like 13. I guess it'd be 13 negative 1. Do I not count that?
Which space?
Like it's like not a space, but it's like where like it would be like I guess it'd be like negative 1, negative 1.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Space. Yeah, ignore this space because that's not in like these guys are just marking like which row and column you're at.
Okay, so if I were to so we're like 0, 1, 2, would that be my first?
No. So that's a good point. So that we can maybe do this and go like this. Does that kind of clarify things a little bit? Kind of.
Okay, so
0 means this is my 0th column.
Okay.
1 means that's my like 1th column, 2 is my 2nd column, 3 is my 3rd, and so on. 0 here refers to like the 0th row, the 1st row, the 2nd row, and so on.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes it a little that makes it better.
That might have been confusing.
Okay, because I was counting that space. Okay, so the second row, so that would be 0, and then so it'd be 0.
Mm-hmm. So the second row, so we're looking here.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did that again. I looked at index value instead. Okay.
Yeah.
Second row, and then your third column would be 4. Or would you? Okay, no, it'd be 2. It'd be 3. The answer is 3.
The answer is 3. Yeah, the answer is 3. So I guess the key here is you can read the words second row, third column, but then immediately you should try to find the indices that you're looking for, and then ignore the words, and then just look at 1, 2. So then look at 1, and then 2, and then find 3.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I said first row, 4th column, how would you do it?
Okay, so let's see. My first row and 4th column. So I would put 0 and 3.
Perfect. And then what value would you say?
8.
Amazing. Awesome.
Okay, I'm glad we practiced that.
Yeah, me too. Nice. Okay, so I think we have one more multiple choice. How would you get the value 6 out of the following array? So I think it's the same A array that we had before.
Yeah.
So this time we're going backwards. We have the value and we need the indices to get us the value.
Okay, so I guess it'd be probably best to like draw it out, which is so let's see. So then it would be So, and we're getting 6. So I'm going to go with C.
C. Okay, A02, and that is correct. Nice job. Nice job.
Yeah, drawing it out really makes it easier.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Moving along. All right, given the following code segment, what is the value of the sum after this code executes?
Okay. Let's see.
So we have a 2D array given to us. And we have a for loop.
So, well, at row 0. Let's see. Okay. So, less than row 4. Length. So I guess one thing to remember is that when it says like dot length, it's not talking about the index, it's talking about the actual size.
That's an interesting question. So matrix 0, what does that represent actually?
Wouldn't it represent the so like inside of the big array, like inside of array matrix, there are several arrays. So it's talking about the like array at position 0, which I assume would be the first one.
Yep. So it's talking about this one right here.
Yeah.
And it's getting the length of that array.
Okay, so it's getting the length of that, and then it has -2. So then would you just look at the first 2 values within that array?
So would you look at the first 2 values or the last 2 values?
Let's see.
Do you want to step through the code?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we are at step 3. So we have initialized our array matrix, right?
Yeah.
Which points, so it has 4 arrays within it. And this is a little bit confusing, but each array is kind of pointing, each arrow is kind of pointing to the array. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So another way is imagine that they're all like stacked right on top of each other in a 2D grid, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. So we start with our sum being 0. And then we go to this line, which you just mentioned. So what happens here? What will call equal after this line executes?
So would it just equal 2?
Yep. Because the length is 4, and then we're subtracting 2. So call will be 2. Exactly. Then we have our for loop. So row is starting at 0. While row is less than 4, row plus plus. And then inside, what happens? We set our sum to something. So what will sum equal after this line executes?
So let's see. Sum would equal, so sum is 0. So it'd be 0 plus, and then it'd be 0, 2. So what would be at, let's see. So it'd be, let's see. So wouldn't that be, let's see. Wouldn't that be 1?
Let's see. I don't think so. So 0, 2 is what we're trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
So we go to index 0, so our first row.
Oh, wait, I think it'd be 2, actually.
Exactly. So we go to our first row, check out that array, and then we go to the second index, or like the index number 2, and we see the third element, which is 2. So our sum is going to equal 2. Cool. Now we are incrementing our row and coming back to do the same kind of thing. So what is sum going to equal this time? What are we adding?
So we're adding 2 because this time sum is 2. So it would be 2 plus. So wouldn't it be 2 plus whatever the value is? So like if the value is 1, then it would be 2 plus 1, and then the sum would be 3.
Yeah, exactly. So we have sum is 2 right now.
Yeah.
Plus what are we adding?
So let's see. So then it would be row 1, column 2. So that would be 5, because it'd be 3 plus 2.
Correct. Right. So row 1, column 2. Well, hold on.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. So row 1, column 2 gives you 2, right?
Yeah.
And then we had sum equaling 2 earlier, so we're actually adding 2 plus 2, which should give us...
Wait, isn't our sum 3 though?
Our sum is 2. Remember last time?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought our sum was 3.
Yeah, no, you're good, you're good. So yeah, it would be 2 plus 2, which is 4.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go back up, increment row. So row is now 2. Now we're looking to add matrix 2, 2 to the sum, which is 4.
Okay. Yeah.
So again, our question is, what does this value equal?
Okay, so let's see, row 2, and then, so that'd be 3.
So row 2, value 2, perfect, that's 3. Yeah. So our sum will equal 7, because 4 plus 3 is 7. Awesome. We increment row again. It's still less than 4, so we enter. This time, what are we adding?
Wait, can you say that again?
Yeah, so over here, we increment row to be 3, right?
Yeah.
And because 3 is still less than 4, it still satisfies that condition. We are going to go into the for loop again, like we have been.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I started to think about that because I was like, okay, well, our row's at 3.
Exactly, yeah.
So then after that, then you would stop.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the last time we're going to go through the loop. So this time sum is going to equal 7 plus...
So it'd be the third row and the second column, which is 1.
Is it?
Wait, hold on, because I tried to like draw this out, but then my lines are like slanted. So 1 second. Wow, I need to improve on my...
Second column means what index?
The third index. Wait, I'm sorry. What? Repeat the question.
Second column means what index?
Oh, your first index.
Yeah. So if I'm going to row 3,
so row 3, column 2. So then it'd be 4.
It would be 4. Exactly. But actually, column 2 is actually 2, so it would be 1.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
These are the indices, yeah. So sorry, I led you on there in the wrong direction. But yeah, it is row 3, column 2, which is 1. So we should have our sum to be 8.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we are back up here at line 8. We're going to increment row. And then do we continue with the for loop, or are we done?
We're done because the loop ends when like it can't be equal or like or greater than 4.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we're done. So we're going to print out I don't know where the print line is. Oh yeah, here we are. Program output. We printed out 8. Nice. So if we go back to the question, what exactly will the value of sum be after we run it?
So B.
Correct. So it says since call is matrix 0.length minus 2, its value is 2. And the code loops through all the rows and adds all the numbers in the third column. Right? So we just added 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any questions on that?
Nope, that made sense after we went over it.
Okay. All right. Here's another one. So what are the contents of mat after the following code segment has been executed?
All right, so okay. So let's see.
We can step through this one too if you'd like.
Okay. 4 row 0. So this is actually just like the other one. Well,
Kind of.
has
Yes.
more to it. It has a second for loop.
Yes, it has nested for loops, which is a good thing to point out. And the dimensions of our 2D array are 4 by 3.
Yeah. So okay. So for row equal to 0 as long as row is less than length. Not length. So it's asking, so for the first for loop, as long as row is less than the entire length of mat.
Right. So what is, this is kind of going back
As long as it's less than 4.
Yes. Yes. That's your number of rows.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the first part. As long as it's less than 4, move on to the next part, and that's as long as, so okay, so columns 0, and then, so it's asking about mat 0. So it's actually in the second for loop, in the nested for loop, it's talking about row 0. Right? Because it's the first square braces.
I'm sorry, I lost you there. So
that's talking about the row 0.
Yes.
Okay, so as long as column is okay, so dot length, as long as it's less than the first, well then,
So what value will this be for the array mat? This won't change ever.
Well, let's see. So wouldn't it, so the length, okay, so when it means the length of the row, is it talking about the columns?
It's talking about, we had this example here, right?
Yeah.
So this is array A.
Yeah.
So A dot length is going to equal what? And A0, oh my God. Dot length is going to equal what? For this example here.
Okay, so let's see. For that example, so would A dot length be 12?
No.
No. Would it be 8?
Mm-mm.
No.
So A dot length refers to the number of rows.
Oh. Okay.
And then a 0 dot length refers to the length of one row.
Okay. So, okay, so A dot length would mean number of rows, and then A square braces 0 dot length would mean the length of the individual row.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see.
So coming back here,
Okay, so then that one is asking about the length of row 0. So then the length of that row would be 3.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to have 4 rows of 3 elements each.
Yes. Okay, so then as long as it's less than 3, which it'll always be because there are only 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that nested for loop is like, it's just like stating the obvious. Well, I mean, I haven't finished reading it, so.
Well, I mean, we are incrementing call every time, so it might go over 3. But we want to make sure that it doesn't, because otherwise we're trying to access something that isn't there. You know?
Yeah, true, true.
Yeah. So, okay, so we have this set up, which you will probably see like a million more times. It's a very standard thing to start row at 0 and then have it go until array.length.
Yeah.
And then start call at 0 and then have it go until array at 0.length. And all this really does is it iterates through your array like so. So that for loop would look at this element, then it would look at 0, 1, 2, then 0, 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll go through 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and so on and so forth. So basically reads the array left to right.
Okay.
So if you ever see a for loop that looks like this, that's what it's doing.
Yeah, I remember, like, honestly, those problems just look really intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I looked at this and there's like a lot going on with all of, first of all, the for loop. Well, first of all, 2D arrays, then the for loops that are nested. And then you have this whole mess.
Which I haven't even read.
Yeah, but we did decide one thing, right? That whatever our answer is going to be, it's going to be 4 arrays of size length 3.
Yes.
So we can eliminate some answers already, right?
Oh yeah, I get we could eliminate C, D, and E.
Perfect, yeah. So you can eliminate.
Oh, that's true, that's true.
Yeah. So now we're just choosing between A and B. So let's see what's actually going on inside, see if we can pick the right answer.
Okay, so then the first conditional is if row is less than column, Matt, row and column would be equal to 1. So okay, so I guess I could look at it like the first run through. So my row is 0, and my column is 0. So row isn't less than column.
Nope.
So then I would go to the else if, which would be the second one, because that's when they're equal to each other.
Right.
So then Matt row 0 and column 0 is equal to 2.
Yeah. Perfect. So
okay, so my first value then would, oh yeah, so then 0, okay, so I'm just filling in the array then. So I know my first one's going to be 2.
Exactly.
Okay, and then I just have to go through one more because that's when A and B are different.
Exactly. Nice.
So this was like not as ugly as it appears. It just.
Exactly, yeah. You just kind of have to see what it's asking, look at the answers, and then kind of, extrapolate. Because these are only multiple choice. They're not meant to be like code intensive,
That's true.
It's meant to be tricky.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's
So,
do the next one.
okay, so now, because it's incrementing, so now it's row 1 and column 1.
Ooh, is that true?
Wait.
We're only incrementing our inner for loop because we're not.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Wait, why wouldn't we be incrementing row also?
So we start out here, right? And we have row 0. Then we
Yeah.
go down one line and we have call 0. Then
Yeah.
you do everything inside the for loop.
Oh.
End here at this brace and come back to this, the second for loop.
Oh. Oh, I see. Okay.
That because this for loop is kind of like self-contained within the other one, so it needs to finish before the other one can, reach the end and then increment row.
Okay, yeah, that's really important.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how you ensure that you actually go through every element. Otherwise, you just kind of do a diagonal. If you did 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to hit 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, and so on.
Okay. So then row would remain 0 and column would become 1.
Exactly.
So then row would be less than column.
Mm-hmm.
So then mat row 0 column 1 is equal to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my answer is B.
Dun, dun, dun. Correct. Nice.
Wow, that one was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Not at all. And you got it on your first try, which is pretty good. So nice job.
I'm really glad we're doing this because like whenever we have like a test, it's just all those and you just kind of like silently cry.
Oh no.
And you're like, what do I do? Okay, maybe the next one will be better, and then it's just longer.
Oh no. That is really, really sad. Yeah, channel your inner, I don't know, code demon, I guess, and crank it out. Because like you said, it's really not that bad. It's just feeling like okay enough with your own knowledge of arrays to kind of tackle it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's so easy to just look at it and say index, length, how many arrays, what are conditionals, what's a nested loop.
Exactly.
And then while you're thinking about all that, you forget about the curly braces.
Right. There's a lot going on, but yeah, you did a really good job with that one, like breaking it down. So cool.
Well, that one was a really good one.
Nice. All right, next one.
Array lists.
We're still at 2D arrays, actually.
Yeah, well, so wouldn't it be a 2D array of array lists?
Well, array lists are actually objects in themselves. So here we're still dealing with just like primitive type in like arrays.
So do the curly braces just mean it's like a string?
The curly braces just mean that you're defining an array in line. So that means like I'm not going to say that M0 equals this array. I'm just kind of putting it all here for everyone to see all at once. So
okay.
This has nothing to do with array lists at all.
So that's just like a way that you could express it, I guess.
Exactly. The way you initialize an array. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it says, given the following code segment, what is the value of sum after this code executes? Okay.
All right.
We did this before.
Huh?
No, I was going to say we did something similar where we were trying to find the sum before.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So sum is equal to 0. For k is equal to 0. And k is less than m dot length. Mm-hmm. Okay, so m dot length. So this is like the other one that we looked at. So it'd be the number of rows.
Okay.
Right? Because so like it's like a dot length.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the number of rows, which in this case is.
So there'd be 4 rows.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Okay, so as long as k is less than 4, mm-hmm. You're going to increment k. Mm-hmm. And then your sum is equal to your sum, which would in this case be 0, plus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here what it is doing is that it's giving you the the destination,
Yeah.
like like it's all about how vague, how vague can you get?
Right.
It's like finding the location, like the specific location
Right.
of this number within the bigger array.
Exactly. It's like GPS coordinates.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're trying to find. Okay. So inside of it, so you have the bigger picture, and then inside, so it's m dot length, which I know is 4,
Perfect.
minus 1
Mm-hmm.
should be 3,
Mm-hmm.
minus k, which is 0.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be 3.
Yep.
It'd be row 3, and then it's 1. So then it would be, okay, so let's see. So it'd be 3, 1, 2, 3, and then it would be 1. So 1,
Ooh.
like 1 is index, right? Or just the
We
first?
want to start at 0. All indices start at 0, remember?
True. So it'd be I mean, it would be 2.
No, because
No.
this value is 3, like you said, right? So you want to go to row 3, which, if we count, would be 0, 1,
2, 3.
So it's actually your 4th row.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So then it would be 4.
Yes, exactly. So we're at 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 0, 1. So that would be 4, right?
Yeah.
So 4. So let's remember that it's 4. Do you wanna walk through it, or do you want to just keep going?
I want to keep going and see.
Okay.
Okay.
So 4. You can write that down.
Okay. So then it would be, yeah, and then our sum is 0. So then the first value is 4. Okay. So then now my sum is 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I go through the loop again. So, oh, and now k is 1. Right?
K is 1. Yes, correct.
Okay, so k is equal to 1. So k is still less than 4.
Mm-hmm.
So k would become 2, but I don't really need that at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I move on to the next part. So it'd be my sum, which I know is 4, plus, so my length is still 4 minus 1, which is still 3, but minus k, which k is now 1. So then that would be 2. So then I would look at the second row. So then it would be 0, 1, 2. And then it would be, and I would still look at column 1, but they're all 2, so it'd be 2. So then it would be 2 plus 4, which is 6.
Fabulous. So after your second time through the loop, your sum is equal to 6.
Yes.
So I'm going to challenge you and say we could step through the code like we've been doing, right, to do the last 2.
Yeah.
But what is the pattern? What is actually happening here? What are we adding every time?
You're just adding 2.
Oh,
wait, no, I'm sorry. I feel like you're asking about a specific pattern. Okay, ask me.
No. I meant like which element are we adding? We're adding the second element of each row.
Oh. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because like you said, m dot length is always 4 and minus 1 is always 3. So we're always doing 3 minus whatever row we're on. So we're actually starting from the end of the 2D array and working backwards in reverse order and getting the second element, which is at index 1, of each of them, and adding them together.
Huh. Yeah. So then wouldn't it be 9?
Yeah, your answer would be 9. Yeah. Correct. So this adds all the values in column 1, starting with the 1 in the last row. So it does it in reverse order, which is what this like m.length minus 1 minus k is doing. So if you had continued to step through, which you were doing, like
Yeah, I probably would have.
yeah, which is good because you need to do that sometimes. But the more you do it, you'll realize like, oh, this is just a program. It can't think for itself. It's not going to do something new and fancy every time, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So if you see the pattern, you can kind of save yourself some time and just kind of look at it and do it because you're smarter than the program. You don't actually need to run through it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So we have around like 10 minutes left. Do you want to continue with this? Or do you want to talk about objects and constructors at all?
Is there another webinar tomorrow?
There is, yeah, there is a webinar tomorrow.
Okay, so maybe we could do more of the 2D array now, and then tomorrow do like objects and classes?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let Sana know. I think she's leading that one.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. Yay, more arrays. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, hard. Let's try this one. So what are the contents of R after the following code has been executed?
Okay, so we do have a nested for loop. That's noted.
That's always fun, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the value becomes an array.
The value becomes an array. So the value.
Well, in the nested for loop, well, I mean, it doesn't really. It just kind of organizes it in that.
So what this means is value is being assigned whatever element is at array.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you've ever heard this analogy, but we were talking about like GPS coordinates for an array. Another way to think of it is a chessboard or like battleship. Where you say like A7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's another way to kind of think about a 2D array. I just thought I'd throw it out there because sometimes that's useful.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really helpful actually.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. So int value is 0. So then let's look at the first for loop. So let's see. Int row is equal to 1. Okay, well, I feel like first I need to establish what's going on in R.
Yeah, that's fair.
So let's see. Okay. So we have 2 rows and then 3 columns. Okay, so 2 rows and 3 columns. So for int row 1, which would be like the first set, so as long as so we have 2 rows, so as long as 2 is less than the R length. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Okay, row is 1 and the R length is 2. So as long as 1 is less than 2, which is
R length is. Oh, R length is 2. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. So row is 1, R length is 2. As long as 1 is less than 2, which it is, you would increment row.
Right.
So then I could move on to the next part because the incrementation doesn't really matter at the moment. So I move to the nested for loop. So int column is equal to 1. So as long as 1 is less than, so dot length of, so okay, so what it's asking me now is it's asking me about the length of row 0. So then the length of row 0 wouldn't that be 2?
The length of row 0 is actually referring to the length of one row.
Okay, so then it'd be 3.
It'd be 3, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. Okay, so as long as 1 is less than 3, which it is, you're going to also increment column. So then row is 1. I mean, yeah, wait. No, row is 2.
Row
No,
is,
would it be,
because we never finished, like, we never got to the end of this outer loop, so we're never actually incremented row. So row is still 1.
okay.
Still 1 when we get here.
So it's still 1 when you get to value?
Yeah.
So you don't increment until the end?
Yeah.
Okay, noted. Okay, that's important. Okay. All right, so it's 1 and 1. Okay, so then value is equal to R at row 1 and column 1. So let's see. So then row 1 would be row 1 and then column 1. Let's see. 1. Okay, so I still kind of like, I feel like I want to make the whole like mistake of my index
Okay.
values, so I'm gonna just like draw it out.
Okay, sure.
Okay, because I have, so then I have 2 rows, but when I'm counting it, it's 0, 1.
Yeah, correct. Do you want to do it like how we did out here?
Yeah, that's probably how I'm gonna try to draw it.
Okay. I can.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, and then let's see. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the second one is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then, let's see. It's asking about the first row, right?
It's asking about, yeah, the first row, or row 1 and column 1. That's the best way to say it.
Okay, so row 1 and okay, so that's 2.
Yes.
Okay. So value.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So val is 2.
Yeah. So our value is 2. Okay. So if value, so it's mod 2 equals 1. Okay. Our row and column equals value plus 1. So, okay, so mod is just like if it's divisible by 2, and then like what the remainder is.
Right.
Right? So if 2 were divided by 2, it'd be 1.
Yep. So what's your remainder? What is 2 mod?
You have remainder of 0.
Yeah. So would you enter this for or if statement?
No.
No. So you would skip down here.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see array at 1, 1 mod 2. Is that equal to 0?
Yes.
Yes. So we are going to do this, which is changing array at 1, 1 to be value, which we know is 2.
Yes.
And change it to 2 times 2, which is 4. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just changed array at 1, 1 to be 4. So if I go back to my visualizer, that means this value, which we highlighted, is now 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we reach the end of our inner for loop. So we come back up and increment column.
Yeah.
So now call is 2.
Uh-huh.
Value is equal to array at 1, 2.
Yes.
Okay. So
row
what value?
1, column 2, so that'd be 3.
Row 1, column 2. Perfect. That is 3. So value is 3.
Yes.
Value mod 2. 3 divided by 2 has a remainder of
1.
1. So this is true.
Yes.
So we're going to set array at 1, 2 to be value plus 1. And value is 3.
Yes. Our new value is 3.
So we know that now we're setting array 1, 2 to be 3 plus 1 or 4.
Yes. Okay, so then the answer then would be D, right? Because we're going in order.
Well, we're not done actually,
Oh.
because this is not an if-else statement, it's an if-if statement. So we just added 1 to 3 and set that to be 1, 2, right?
Yes.
So now we go back down here to the next line and we say if array at 1, 2, which is now 4, remember?
Mm-hmm.
If that divides evenly by 2, we're going to do this.
Oh.
And so because it does, we set array at 1, 2 to be value, which is 3. Or sorry, what is value right now? Value is
Well,
3.
value is still 3.
Yeah.
So then that's 3 times 2, so that'd be 6.
Mm-hmm.
So then at 1, 2, we change that to 6.
Yes. So what would your answer be?
Oh, okay. So, so I feel like I would need to do a third one. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, it would be A.
Wait, hold on. We're changing array at 1, 2 to be 6, right?
Yeah.
That's what we just said. So we would change array at 1,
Oh, wait, yeah, never mind.
2 to be 6. Yeah?
Yes.
So this is what it looks like. So if we were to write it like how it's written here, right?
Yes.
So this is our new array. This is our original array. Equals 3, 2, 1. We didn't touch the first one at all, the first row. But we did change these two guys.
True, yes.
Okay. So is there an answer that matches that?
Yeah, it'd be B.
Yeah. And I actually think the ebook has an error. It says that this is the right answer, but I just ran it in the visualizer. And the answer is, in fact, 1, 4, 6. So the answer is B. Do you want to see it run through? The tricky part here was well, there are lots of tricky parts, but the thing we haven't seen in a while was the two if statements.
Yeah, and making sure that because at first I wanted to treat it as if it were an if else statement. So it's like, well, I know that one's not okay, well that wouldn't work, so I can ignore the second one. But
Right.
you have to still go in that chronological order.
Yes, you do.
And that was like really easy to forget.
Yeah.
And then making sure that you change the values. Like, okay, well, if you're adding something, we'll make sure you change it. And then if you have to modify something else, that you're changing it again.
Right, exactly. And that's why, see, when I first looked at this code too, I was like, why didn't they just use value again? You know? Because we set value to be array at row call, so why didn't they just use the variable value? But they don't, because they change what array row call equals up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if this, oh, it didn't work. That's sad. Um,
Well, that's fine. I mean, we we went through that one.
yeah, we did. But yeah, that's that. So I will make note on the ebook that that's the wrong answer. But yeah, you did do it correctly. The answer it would be B.
And how do I access the ebook again?
I can send you a link. Everything's online.
Okay.
I will actually send you. Oh, do you have a login? You can just use a normal like Gmail login if nothing
Oh
else.
yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. But yeah, I'll send you the link or I'll put it in the email when I send out the
Cool.
list.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So I'm gonna end the broadcast for that.